7-month-old cheetah cub. Mtani is his Labrador companion. Cassie was actually born at another facility up in northern Florida. His mom decided that she did not want to raise him, and he was left to be raised by the trainers. And at 20 days old, he was given to us here at Busch Gardens so we could do that hand raising. So at 20 days old, we got him here. He was only under a couple of pounds. He was quite small, and he did receive the best possible infant care, including going home with trainers and all of that kind of stuff, so that he could receive his round-the-clock feedings. But at around 6 weeks of age, we decided that he needed a social companion. Typically, cheetahs actually have a very complex social group or social system, and usually it results in females staying with their litter or their cubs and their offspring for about 2 years. So if Cassie was raised by his mom and he had litter mates to survive, he would have actually stayed with them for about 2 years. However, he was the only one to survive out of his litter, and his mom did orphan him. So we decided that we wanted him to have some sort of social companion. Now we looked around at all the different cheetahs that we had here at Busch Gardens, and the next youngest cheetahs were already 8 months old. 8 months old, 6 weeks old was not going to be a feasible introduction for these guys. So we asked other facilities around the country what they do in similar circumstances. And amazingly enough, a dog surrogate sibling is a very common solution. So what kind of dog do you choose? Well, for starters, Cassie was 6 weeks old. We wanted a dog approximately his age. Cassie is a male. We decided we wanted a female. This eliminates any same-sex issues that could arise. And then more specifically, we decided that we wanted to go with a Labrador. They are very laid-back, easygoing personalities. We thought that would be a good complement to the cheetah cub. So we wanted a female Labrador approximately 6 weeks of age. So we asked around at our local shelters here in Tampa, and we were unsuccessful. So we asked our sister park, SeaWorld, over in Orlando to do the same, and they were actually able to find and rescue Mtani from a local shelter over there. Now we had Cassie and Mtani. How do you introduce a dog and a cat? Ultimately, we decided that supervised play sessions was the best option. So around 8 weeks of age for Cassie, we started having him play with Mtani for about 15 minutes, a couple times a day with trainers watching. Now initially, Mtani, being a dog, she kind of viewed Cassie as an oversized chew toy. Cassie had never seen a dog, never heard barking. That was all very new to him. So it was a little awkward. But through a series of these supervised play sessions and a couple of months, these two animals were able to build a relationship. They were able to learn how to play together, and they actually built a beautiful friendship. Now these two have been living together 24/7 for the past few months, and they truly are the best of friends. They do everything together, including playing on this habitat, eating inside, sleeping, playing around, and even traveling the country. They do it all together. The only time these guys are separated are for brief feeding sessions, and that's because, amazingly enough, they actually like to share a little too well. So we want to make sure that everybody gets their proper diets, and we do separate them for feeding sessions. But other than that, these guys are together through everything that they do. Now that they're about 7 and 8 months old, we get a lot of questions of how long are they going to live together? Well, now that they're together and they're best friends, we have no intentions of ever separating them. Both dog and cheetah do have an average life expectancy of about 10 to 15 years under human care, so that works out pretty well for us. And these two will remain their own special social group. We don't really have any intentions of introducing Cassie to any other cheetahs when he gets older, unless he is recommended for breeding, and that is usually brief situations. So at which he will breed with a female and then be sent back to Mtani, and they will remain their own special social group. So these two will be best friends throughout the rest of their lives. So how does that work with size? We get a lot of questions about that. Well, up until now, and even now, Mtani the dog has been larger than Cassie. She's actually about 6 weeks older than him, and she has always been larger than him. So she's been in charge of their social interactions, and she's been allowed to kind of set the rules. Right now, that still continues, even though they do look the same size. Mtani still is about 20 pounds larger than Cassie, and they both know it. As they do get older, though, their social dynamics will change, but because they've grown up together, they truly view each other as siblings and have no reason for aggression other than normal siblings out of that deal. So it will still remain a happy friendship, even when Cassie here is 100 pounds, Mtani only about 70. So it'll work out very well. Now, we get a lot of questions about trainers and the habitat and how long that's going to last. class. As I mentioned, Kasi here was hand raised, so he's been around trainers since he was first born. He's very used to this. And as a result of being hand raised, we are hoping that our trainers will continue to be able to go in and interact with him in this same circumstance, even when he's 120 pounds full grown. Now the reason for this is because he is hand raised. All of his trainers that interact directly with him, such as Justin and Mike, have a very thorough understanding of animal behavior, cheetah behavior, as well as a very strong relationship with the cheetahs that they work with. So Kasi and Mtani here. We do take all of our necessary precautions and things like that as well. Another reason, though, that we do want to maintain this free contact situation has two reasons. One is for their medical care. Two is because they are animal ambassadors. To understand their medical care a little bit more, here at Busch Gardens we actually have 8 cheetahs that we are what we consider free contact with, which means that we interact just like we do with Kasi, even though the other 7 girls are a little bit bigger. And we are able to do this. While it looks like a lot of fun, it actually is very important for their medical care. Being able to sit there, rub them down, play with their feet, play with their ears, things like this, helps to desensitize them to that touch. This way, if somebody does get injured or isn't feeling good, our vets can come in, poke and prod, do the same kind of thing, and these guys don't think anything of it because they're used to it on a daily basis. Compare that to animals that we are what we call protected contact with, never really have our hands on. All of a sudden, our vets have to actually sedate the animals to get their hands on them. So it actually is very beneficial for us. The other free contact stuff that we're working on with these guys is building up a strong enough relationship that these guys will accept shots voluntarily. So just like your dogs and cats at home, these guys need their annual shots as well. And Kasi actually has gotten his voluntarily through our training, as well as we do work to build a relationship so that we can actually draw blood from them as well. Cheetahs, just like any other cat, have one vein that runs down each side of their tail, and by being able to get them used to us touching their tail, poking and prodding, things like that, we're actually able to draw blood while the animal is wide awake and aware of what is going on. Now the other reason that our free contact relationship with Kasi is very important is because he is what we consider an animal ambassador. As an animal ambassador, his role is to travel around the state and the country spreading the message of cheetah conservation. To this day, he actually has traveled around the country so far doing various media spots, and will continue to do that even as he gets bigger. So he is leash and harness trained, and in order to be able to leash and harness him and take him to a media site, we do need to be able to go free contact with him. So we will continue to do that as he gets larger, as long as we can go free contact. So a little bit about that. Does anybody have any questions for me so far? Alrighty, a little bit about cheetah in general. As I'm sure you guys